Ruto. We want now to just talk a bit about that. Thank you very much for staying with us, by the way. Let me introduce my guest this morning, Philip Kisia. He's seated right next to me. Thank you very much for your time. He's the former Nairobi town clerk. We also have Sylvanus Osoro, who's a very... what can I say? He is vying for the South Mugirango parliamentary seat under KNC. Thank you very much for joining us, Sylvanus. All right, so let's begin with the sentiments there. Your reaction to President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto's remarks in regards to the judiciary. I'll start with you, Philip.
Well, I really have not seen anything wrong with the concerns that His Excellency, the President, and his deputy have raised. They're just raising concern. And one, I think the issue that comes out very clearly is that His Excellency, the President, respects the courts. He said, "Ninaheshimu, I respect the courts." What more would you ask from a president? And the deputy president was only raising concern. That is the judiciary ready for the elections? What is wrong with those two remarks?
Why would he ask if the judiciary is ready for the elections?
It's a question that needs to be answered. If you ask a question, I mean, you don't expect...
What would influence or what would inform
It's a concern that has
concern.
been raised, and the concern needs to be addressed. One thing that came out very clearly is that one of the judges is a friend, a very close friend and confidant to one of the members of the opposition. If that is true, then of course this is conflict of interest. At that particular point, that particular judge should have stepped aside or at least brought it to the other stakeholders that indeed I have a relationship with one of the interested parties, and therefore I may wish to step aside.
All right. Sylvanus, what is your comment on this?
That is quite unfortunate, and it was actually uncalled for the person of the president to speak that. And I speak equally as a court officer and as a lawyer that it is very important for the judiciary to be given its independence. That we do not support the judiciary only when it favors our side. The president himself is a product of the judiciary. That somebody went to court to challenge his elections, and the judiciary upheld his election as the president of Kenya. Him coming out with a lot of anger, displaying it openly to the public, and showing the members of the public that there could be foul play in court, then that already brings a sense of, some kind of unnecessary tension within the country. We've had 4 years of clear structures, that the executive is quite distinct in their way of operation, that the judiciary is very independent, the legislation is very independent, and the parliament is very independent. So when the judiciary does not favor either side of the political, side, we shouldn't be coming out with a lot of anger like what the president displayed. So clearly for me that is uncalled for.
Okay.
In as much as he said, you cannot say that I respect the courts, then threaten it, that we don't fear you. I mean, what can you do?
So, Sora, at the same time, we had Jubilee leaders who came out yesterday and said that Justice Odunga is the main cause of some of the wars or some of the problems that they've been having in the courts, because, like Kisia said, he seems friendlier to the opposition.
Let me probably, and I'll tell Mr. Kisia and Kenyans that we need to understand the structures of the courts and how they operate. And let me say first that Justice Odunga, he's in charge of the section of the constitutional review in court, in the High Court of Kenya. And the only court that can hear any matter relating to the definition or interpretation of the Constitution is the High Court of Kenya. In that particular section, he's in charge. He's not alone. We've got Justice Ngugi and other judges. There are actually 6 of them in that particular unit. And every judge has got a duty. But let's get particularly to this issue that was ruled the other day. It was a 3-judge bench. Right. And every judge had their ruling read separately, but it was actually moving along with their colleagues. Now, You cannot say that Justice Odunga reads, or rather defines his ruling in the side of the opposition, forgetting that this is not the very, actually, he does not only listen to matters that are brought to court that are only linked to politics. There are other matters that happen within the court system at that particular time. But now, in regard to the interpretation, if you look keenly, one has an option of appeal. That if you really feel that there is fault in law, and there are only two reasons that one can appeal a decision. If there is fault in law or fault in fact, then you can go to a higher court. There is always room for amendment in the event that you feel that probably this ruling does not favor me, and there is fault in law or fault in fact.
Right.
So you cannot single it out on an individual. And using the issue of blood relationship or whatever structure, creating that perception, we can dig deeper and get to the side of the government. Attorney General himself is related to the President of Kenya.
Kisa, let me hear you.
I think my brother here, being a lawyer, should have known better. Conflict of interest is conflict of interest. The mere fact that people have cast aspersion to one of the judges, and he has not denied, nobody has denied, the fact that he has a close association with one of the core people in NASA, should have been reason enough for him to step aside and allow somebody to sit in. He is not the only judge who can sit on that particular court. Secondly, my brother also indicated that the president expressed anger. Which anger? I mean, that's your own interpretation, or that's your own observation. I think the president exercised a lot of restraint. He behaved in a very civil and cultured manner.
All right. We'll come back to the conversation shortly, but for now, I want to take a break. Newscentre is going to be coming back shortly. Don't go away.
This is KTN News.